One common mistake a lot of marketers make after winning commitment from their audience is to fully automate their follow-up strategy. For example, quite often email marketing or push notifications are used to deliver a variety of products or content meant to cash in on the newly acquired asset, that is the subscriber. The truth is that people simply don't have the time to read all your emails. Just take me. I've signed up for several industry publications only to find myself inundated with emails, sometimes 3 in one day, from the same publication. Of course, I simply do not have time to read them, and a very interesting thing happened. I stopped reading all their emails. In addition, my decision of not reading those emails made it easier for me to devalue it and ultimately give up reading it completely. By contrast, I look forward to Yoast SEO's monthly webinar invitation, which gets delivered to my inbox throughout the year and which never disappoints in terms of quality of content. In brief, less is more. In fact, there is something very interesting about how I feel about receiving Yoast SEO's webinar invite, as I know I will receive great quality content. I began to reflect on that feeling, and I came across the famous experiments of Russian psychologist Pavlov, who was first to discover the principle of classic conditioning. Now, this may feel awkward, so my apologies. Classical conditioning describes the process of manipulating a stimulus in order to create an association with the new condition. In his experiments on dogs, Pavlov managed to condition the salivary glands of the dogs to lick at the sound of a bell. He achieved this by training the dogs to associate the bell with food. In effect, Pavlov managed to change the behavior of the dogs by introducing a stimulus they looked forward to, the food. In a weird and awkward way, you want your audience to feel the same excitement when receiving your email. Of course, a stimulus can be a regular newsletter with great discounts, the newest products coming to market, the hottest trends, and so on. In brief, as a user, you need to condition me to look forward to the receipt of your email. My apologies again for the awkward analogy. As long as you don't disappoint my expectations, you can rest assured I will rush in to read your email as soon as possible. But why is that? Well, Chip and Dan Heath explained this very well in their book Made to Stick. Like most people, I am curious, and if I do not satisfy my curiosity, deep down inside, an unconscious pain emerges, a situation that economist George Loewenstein referred to as situational interest. This being said, what I see now for quite some time is that most content I receive automatically after my initial experience of your purple cow is of far lower quality. For example, the content is simply promotional, affiliate marketing offers, or commercially focused. Basically, you got me in your bed, but you now make it far too easy for me to explain away the reason I subscribed to you in the first place, and of course to unsubscribe. Look, if you are in it for one night stand, of course that's not a problem. But as a marketer who went to great lengths to get my details, you are most likely looking for a longer relationship. So why waste the opportunity to get me to know and trust you by sending all these average emails? It doesn't really make sense. Bottom line, provide consistent value to your audience and never forget why they signed up in the first place. Many marketers are going a step further with crazy methods like automatically signing you up to their databases and newsletters without asking. They scrap Google for email addresses, download email lists from LinkedIn, buy email lists, and use so many other cold email approaches. Many tools allow them to do this. However, using these strategies, in addition to not being GDPR compliant very often, will most often increase the spam score of your email, and most importantly will deliver no return. I already explained at length why people need to make a conscious decision to sign up, so I will not dwell on this further. Another example of failure to capitalize on your audience is moving in too quickly, or the incorrect use of various email or social share tools to capture contact details. An example of the many correct ways of doing this goes like this. We drive traffic to the page. People start reading a great piece of content. Halfway through, a social locker pop-up interrupts their experience by hiding the remaining content. Readers are now given a choice of continuing to read by performing an action, such as sharing an article, liking it, following, or emailing. Very importantly, we offer them a choice of taking an action, like continue without sharing. We also give them a reason to share the article, which might be, I have worked 2 days, 5 hours and 23 minutes on this article. Just remember the Xerox machine experiment. Okay, so what would you do if you were the reader? Firstly, keep in mind that we just managed to get them on a date by gaining their commitment to reading the article. Now, by not forcing the action on them, we eliminate the ability to explain away the reason for reading our article or for taking the action we ask of them, let's say sharing, for example. Basically, because they now have a choice to skip the locker without signing up, they cannot say to themselves, okay, I'll sign up, share or like because they give me no choice, but I really don't like this approach. One observation though, many marketers place the locker after the first couple of paragraphs. This is a mistake, as readers did not have enough time to get into and commit to the content. The obvious result will be an increase in bounce rates. To prevent this from happening, we need to allow visitors to read at least 50% of our content before locking it. By this time, readers will have committed their time, and if they liked our article and we have followed the rules, they will most likely freely decide to take our targeted action and share, like, email or follow. The loss aversion principle is at work here as well. Now, most readers unconsciously explain the time spent on reading the first part of the article in terms of, I must have liked the content. After all, why else would I read it? The sunk cost fallacy plays a part too. I spent time already on reading this content. I will not waste this time now by leaving. And as we will see a bit later, they now adapt their preference in line with their behavior. In brief, they now love our content more, they share it more and recommend it more. That's it for the time being. Thank you for watching and I will see you soon.